Hey, what is up? This is Steve with Stallone's Pro Wash, and I'm going to take you through how we use our Comet P40 that's hooked up on the Honda GX 160. It's a smaller engine, but it powers the pump great. I'm going to show you the two different soap tanks we use and how our proportioner system is set up for our soft wash system. So come take a look. So this is the Honda GX 160, smaller engine, all electric start. I got a battery box in the back. So here's a look at the pump itself. This is the Comet P40. Really nice and stable metal housing. This is an Italian-made motor. I have had some issues with the back end piece here. We just had some parts replaced on this back housing. This area has a lot of O-rings and they tend to go bad over time. Right now we have about 65-ish hours on this pump, and we've had it serviced one time. Up here is the bypass. So you always want to start and stop the pump in bypass mode. When you push this forward, it engages the pump and then it puts on the pressure. This goes up to, the pressure gauge is already set. We have it set to about 190 psi, which is just what we need. The way we have our hoses set is this yellow hose here goes to my reel. This is the water in, and this is the water out. These both go straight to my proportioner. So this will go straight into my proportioner, and this comes out of my proportioner. So whatever my chemical mix is coming in, it's going to be getting pulled in through this blue line down here. So the chlorine, the soap, and the water will get pulled in through here, and it gets pushed out through this yellow line. When you put it in bypass mode, it's just going to keep flushing through this blue line in a circle pattern. Now in this section here is where we have our soaps. We use, this says apple blossom surfactant, which I did use for a long time. It's a little bit more expensive, but what I use is Traxman now. It's a really good surfactant. You can see in here it's super, super dark. Super dark, super concentrated. And just by opening that, the smell, it's just so potent. It's really strong. Look, even the bee came over here. He smelled how fruity it was, so a little honeybee. Now on the second tank back here is my neutralizer. That's where I put my bleach neutralizer. It's made by NutriPods. It comes in a powder. I believe it's about 2 to 3 cups of the neutralizer for every 5 gallons. This is a 7-gallon tank, so I usually put about 3 cups of the neutralizer in there, and then I fill it with water and I give it a mix, and that will give me 7 gallons of the neutralizing concentrate. And then I'm going to take you over to the proportioner and show you how the proportioner is set up. All right, so here is the proportioning system for that Comet P40. And there's 3 different valves here. There is a water valve, there's the soap valve, and then there's the SH valve. My SH tank is back here. It is a 125-gallon tank. I currently have about 110 gallons in there. We just got it filled today because we got a roof wash tomorrow. So we wanted to get it full and make sure we have enough SH for tomorrow's roof wash. So the way this works is this all goes to that pump. And right now the water is fully open, the soap is off, and the SH is off. Now this is what makes it so great about using a proportioning system instead of downstreaming. So this is how the proportioning system works here. We have 3 valves. These are proportioning valves. These are not like ball valves that you would get at Home Depot. They're very sensitive, and I've taken them apart before, and when you look inside, it's almost like a V. And the V, the wider you open it, the V gets wider and wider and wider. So it's very sensitive. So right now this is fully open on water only. So we have water, we have soap, and we have SH. all the names are backwards because I have the POV camera on. It's the front camera, so it looks all backwards. But these are all check valves, and these check valves do go bad. I've had them go bad before, and the way you know they go bad is when my chlorine tank started filling up with water. The water will actually start going and feeding back into the chlorine tank. So to have a proportioning valve like this is easy to maintenance, because all I have to do is just unscrew this top of the valve, and the whole assembly will come off, and that'll allow me to unscrew this. I see some guys making their own proportioning valves and they have all this PVC on there. One thing goes wrong, it's going to be a nightmare to take apart. If this check valve goes bad, all I do is unscrew this top part, which is separate from the valve. It's just on a screw. So I unscrew this, my valve will come out, and then I just unscrew my check valve, put the new check valve in, screw it back in, and then put the proportioning valve back in. Same thing with these. You just unscrew this little top piece. It's a separate nut. It's not actually attached to the valve. So if I wanted to do just a basic house wash mix, I would take my SH mix and just go just to like the second notch here. I had some stickers on here to show the strength. You can kind of see over here it says 6%, 4%, 3%. The 1 and 2 is kind of faded off, but I have to print some new ones out. But you would just go about the second notch, and that will give you about a 1 to 2% on the house wash mix, which is a little stronger than I like, but I've noticed that when I use it on the second notch, it cleans the house real nice, and I don't have to worry about any damage to any plants or anything. It's still a diluted enough solution where I don't have to worry about anything like that. With the soap, now you saw the two tanks that we had. We had the surfactant and we had the neutralizer. Surfactant, all I'm doing is just putting this to the first notch, and that's just going to trickle in just a little bit of that surfactant. I see guys on there saying, oh, you don't need to use surfactant, it's so expensive, it's a waste of money, all I use is Dawn dish soap, all I use is laundry detergent. And I did that in the beginning too. You know, it works. Dawn dish soap works. Laundry detergent works. Does it work as good as what I have? No, it doesn't. I've done hundreds of house washes with the Dawn and the laundry detergent because that's what I did when I was new, and it was cheap and it was easy. And it was the way I had my system set up then was just one big chlorine tank that I would downstream out of. I didn't have a proportioner, so it made more sense. You're not going to get a color marking dye with a scent and put it in a chlorine tank that you're letting sit for downstreaming, because it's just a waste. The color marking dye is just going to disappear, and the scent is going to disappear as that chlorine sits and eats it up. So it just doesn't make sense to use a surfactant that's expensive like that. But if you have a proportioner like this that is made for that, buying a more expensive surfactant makes sense. I never get complaints about the smell of bleach at people's houses. When people open their front door, the first thing they say to me is, wow, it smells so good out here. Because that cherry scented surfactant, it literally smells like you're going through a car wash. If you've ever went to a car wash and you have your air conditioning on, and as soon as the soap hits, you can smell the AC, kind of that scent coming through the car wash, that's what it smells around the whole entire house. You don't even smell bleach. It works so good. When I do a post-treatment on a driveway, I don't use surfactant, and I can just smell the musty bleach smell down at the end of the street. And I'm like, man, it's so much nicer to use surfactant, especially inside of pool enclosures. When you're inside of a pool enclosure and you're doing a whole screen room and a pool deck and all the awnings under the pool enclosure, and you're using a surfactant, and it's just real soapy and pink, the scent in there is just amazing. It just smells so good. And you don't have to worry about it having that musty smell when the customer comes out and you're showing them the job and they're like, oh, it stinks like bleach out here. It doesn't. It has that nice, refreshing scent. But in this case, it makes sense because this is the equipment that is needed to run that type of soap. I have a two-way valve down here that I made myself. And what this does is it separates the two tanks I have back there. So one side is the surfactant and one side is the bleach neutralizer. So if I'm doing like a roof wash like tomorrow, I will switch this valve here to go to the other tank, the bleach neutralizer tank. And what I'll do is I will neutralize all the gutters, like inside the gutter drains. I'll put neutralizer all in the gutters, all down by the downspouts before we bag the gutters. So any overrun or overspray that comes out of the gutters is going to get neutralized from that neutralizer. I'll spray all the plants with this. I run this through the machine. I rinse the trailer with the neutralizer. So it's a great little switch here. With the surfactant, I don't ever have to go past that first little notch. So the surfactant, yeah, that's going to cost me, I think the Traxman is a little cheaper. I think it's about 160 to 180 bucks for a 5-gallon bucket. That's 5 gallons of surfactant. So if you go to Dollar Tree, that's where I used to go. I used to go to Dollar Tree, and I used to get the, it's not LA Awesome. Is it LA Awesome? It might be LA Awesome. The soap, it's just like dish soap, and I used to take that and dump it into the chlorine tank and use that as surfactant to wash houses and stuff. It's good. It makes it sudsy and makes it stick to the house. And down here in Florida, like guys up north, I see them say, you know, you don't need surfactant, but down here in Florida, I've done houses with just chlorine and it dries up like that. The longer you can keep the soap or the SH soapy and wet on the house, the longer it's going to work and the better results you're going to get. When I've just used straight SH on houses without surfactant, I've noticed that I've gotten runs. You know, I'd spray the house real quick, like over a area that's real moldy, and when I come back, there's streaks through it. And that's where the SH has gotten wet longer. It's because it's been dripping, so it stayed wet and it killed all the mold in that area. And then it just looks like a bunch of runs everywhere, and it didn't kill the whole thing. When I sprayed the same area with a surfactant with a SH, it killed the whole thing evenly because the whole side of the house was sudsy. It wasn't dry. It was still wet. That's what a surfactant is. It's a wetting agent. It keeps the surfactant wet, or it keeps the SH wet. It works like a good surfactant like I have, the Traxman, awesome for windows. Like, you know, when I used to use Dawn and dish soap, Dawn and laundry detergent, I'd feel like I was rinsing windows forever and I would still get spots. With this surfactant, the rinsing is like instant. Like you don't need a lot of surfactant, so it's just giving you enough to suds up. It comes out pink, so you know already where you've sprayed, and it turns clear after about 5-minute dwell time. The stronger the SH you have in there, the less dwell time you're gonna have. So if you're hitting it like with a 3%, the dwell time is gonna be literally like 30 seconds to a minute maybe, and it's going to come out pink and it's going to turn clear right away. But if you're hitting this with like a 1% or like even a 0.5%, like just something real light, some houses that have just more bugs on it, newer houses that have just bugs and they're not real moldy, I'll go like a 0.5%, like not even 1%, and I'll do the surfactant at the same rate, and I notice it stays pinker longer. And I'm not there to like kill a lot of mold. I'm really trying to get bugs down, but we still want that fresh scent and we want to sanitize. So it's still going to sanitize the house with that 0.5%. So if I'm doing a roof wash, I'm going to open this up all the way and I'm going to give it just a little bit more soap, maybe like a double notch. And that really makes it come out real foamy. And when I'm doing the roof, I actually switch my nozzle to a like a J-rod nozzle. So I'll show you what that looks like. Well, here's a look at the two different guns that I use on the soft wash system. And this is strictly for the gas-powered soft wash system. This is not for a pressure washer. So this is called the Water Boss. This gun is awesome. This is like the best gun that I think you can buy. I've seen some of the ones that are kind of fatter on the ends. Is like I don't know who makes them, but it's like fat on the end, fat on the back. And I've seen some tests done. I think Mike V did a test on this, and this Water Boss actually won the challenge of going further distance and having a tighter stream. The great thing about this is it works just like a water hose. The more you press it, the more you pull it, the longer the stream, and when you let it out, it kind of fans out on you. So it's a tight stream, and then it opens up into a fan. So if I'm at the floor and I'm doing like a second story house, I can hit all the gutters and everything from the ground. I'm hitting everything, and then I'm just opening this up, letting the trigger up a little bit, and now I'm just going into a fan and doing the bottom story of the house. When I was downstreaming using a J-rod, you know, you got to take the J-rod, you take the tip off, you put it into the long stream, you're shooting the top of the house with the long stream, then you get to the bottom and you put the fan back in, and then you spray the bottom with the fan. I get it. I've done it. It works. There's nothing wrong with it, but when you start using one of these, it's going to cut your time in half. You're not having to take nozzles out over and over. You're just using one gun, and it works for everything. So this is what I'll use for applying chemicals and rinsing the house. So I'll apply the chemicals with this gun. I cover the whole house. When I'm about 3/4 of the way done, I shut my chlorine off. I shut my soap off, and that will just release whatever is left in my hose. My hose holds about 4 gallons of mix. So I've filled up buckets before, and I've done a test. It takes about 32 seconds for the hose to clear. So that's why when I'm about 3/4 of the way done with the house, I shut my chemicals off, because I know in the hose I still have about 4 to 5 gallons of mix that I'm about to apply to the house. So I'll finish the house off with that rest, and then as soon as I get to the end, I notice that soap isn't coming out anymore. Now I'm in rinse mode. So now I just got full water, and now I just go straight from where I finished, and I start rinsing the whole house. And I rinse all the way back around to the front, and I'm done. House washes for a 2-story house that's about 2,500 square foot, we're talking 30 minutes, 40 minutes from start to finish. And that's with doing a pre-house inspection. That's with removing window screens, and we mop and squeegee all of our windows when we're done. You know, even though we do do the freshwater rinse on the house, we always mop and squeegee all the windows. Now, if I'm doing a roof wash, I'm going to use this gun. And this gun, it has the J-rod on there, but this is set for 8-gallon-a-minute nozzles. So the nozzles are a little wider. And what I use is this fan tip right here. And what I like about this gun is I can control the stream a lot better, because if I'm using this gun and if I just push this trigger a little bit, I get like a really wide fan. It's almost like a circle right here. And it doesn't give me a fan forward, it gives me a fan outward. Like imagine like a Frisbee disc in front of me. It gives me a real wide fan. Sometimes if I want to just go light, like if I'm doing a fence cleaning, like a vinyl fence wash or a roof wash, I don't want a real wide fan because it's misting everywhere and it's not putting the chemical where I want it. So with this gun here, I can control the stream, and I can actually just barely, even if I just barely open it, it's just giving me a nice straight light misting stream. And I can change the nozzles in the J-rod. So when I do the roof with this, I'm just coating the roof real nice and easy. If it's a smaller house, I'll shoot the whole roof from the ground with this gun. But if I have to get on the roof, like if there's a lot of debris on the roof, I'll get up on the roof first. I'll ball valve rinse the roof. I'll get all the debris off, like pine needles, leaves, just with a ball valve rinse with the 8-gallon-a-minute pressure washing machine. Just using it kind of like a blower, like a leaf blower, just blowing off all the debris. And then I'll put the 8-gallon-a-minute machine away, and then I pull out my soft wash machine, and I'll just spray the whole roof from the floor with this gun. If I have to get up there, like if there's a lot of ridges and if it's a little taller of a house, then I'll use this gun. And then I'm just kind of starting at the top of the ridges, and I'll just kind of make like a waterfall, real nice and slow down the roof, even waterfall. And I have the gutters bagged already at the base, and then we already pre-wet the gutters with the neutralizer. So as the water's coming down the roof, you know, you want to put just a perfect amount to where it's not really overflowing over the roof into the gutter. It's just kind of stopping right at the end. There's still going to be some dripping. There's still going to be some overflowing, especially in some ridges where it connects and it creates like a real dam right down to the gutter. You're going to have some overflow there, but the good thing about this, I can turn this SH all the way up. So this would be 50-50 mix. This is putting out a 6% mix. If I want to go stronger, like if I want to do like an 8% or 10%, or even if I want to do 12% straight SH, I just start backing off the water. So what I'll do is right now it's at 6%. I bring down the water. Say I bring down the water about a quarter of the way. Now I'm probably about an 8%. If I bring the water up more, say about 3/4 of the way, I'm probably at like a 10% right there. And if I shut the water off, now we just got straight SH. That's what's beautiful about this system. You can't do that with a X-Jet. You can get good dilutions with an X-Jet, but you can't get straight SH. We can't control it as good as you can with a proportioner. Now this proportioner was built on the trailer. I would say if you want to build this yourself, you're probably talking around maybe $1,000, somewhere between 800 and $1,000, because I just bought one of these valves because they did go bad, and it actually didn't go bad as actually the nut stripped on one of these, and it was really my fault. The way I put it on, I thought I had it in the threads, and I didn't, and I was tightening it, and it stripped the thing, and it was causing leaks, so I just replaced it. I used the old one for parts. But each one of these valves is around $200. The check valves are probably about 15 to 20 bucks a piece. Then you got some, you know, some fittings down here. So probably somewhere between 800 to $1,000, depending where you're buying it. You know, that's including hoses and hose clamps. That's not just this, that's the whole system. You know, your proportioners, your valves, your elbows. Then you have a block in the back here that mixes it all. There's just a solid block that it all goes into, all your hoses. So when you say, oh, that's not going to be 800 or $1,000, I'm talking about everything. The whole proportioning system with the hoses to the machine, everything. It's going to be about $1,000. It's going to save you so much money in the long term, though. It's going to save you, and the thing that saves you is time. You're saving time here. We used to be able to do 2 driveways a day with my old machine. Today we did 6 driveways, a fence cleaning, and a pool deck, and we were done by 2:45. We started at 9:15. We were just knocking out driveways left and right because I had 2 guys on my crew. Both of them were on surface cleaners. We had one person on the 8-gallon-a-minute machine. The other person was on the 5-gallon-a-minute machine. They were both running surface cleaners. Then they would both rinse, and I would come behind them and post-treat. While they're rinsing, I'm post-treating right behind them. We were done. Driveways, maybe 20 minutes, we were in and out of there. Customers are just like, I can't believe how fast you guys are done. That's what it's going to save you. It's going to save you time. So when you used to be able to do 2 jobs a day, now you're doing 6 jobs a day. You're just tripling your amount of jobs you can do, increasing your profits, increasing your schedule. It just makes things a lot easier. So today I was actually training Tyler. I was completely off today. Like, I didn't drive the truck. I didn't touch a surface cleaner. I just made some videos and was just been training him all week. I had Tyler drive the truck all the way to Orange Park. He did a great job. He backed up the trailer. I took him to Ace Hardware. I showed him how to load up chlorine. So I'm at the point where, like, I'm training this guy to be a lead, and I can start stepping off a little bit to grow the business. You know, to be a business owner, you don't want to be working in the business all the time. You want to train somebody to take over your spot so you can continue to focus on areas of the business like sales, marketing, hiring, processes. So I've spent the last 2 years building a lot of processes. So this guy went into the role, and he has basically a layout of how to do everything. We have checklists on and procedures on every wash we do, every house wash. How to prepare a home for a house wash, you know, taping locks and doors and bells, what to look for in concrete, if there's rust stains, if there's weeds, if there's oil. We take pictures and put it in this report, and we send it to the customer before we even start. So that way, if they come outside and they're like, oh, you know, there's this big oil stain here, I thought you came to pressure wash it. Well, the pre-inspection report shows on there that we're not going to be able to get that oil stain out. I have some videos about how we tackle oil stains, but 9 times out of 10, if somebody has a big oil stain on their driveway, it's not coming out. We've used every commercial degreaser, hot water. This system does hot water up to 215 degrees. It's not coming out. If it's been there for a couple of years, that's just how it's going to be. You know, we can clean concrete, but we can't make it new. So I hope that this gave you some more information about how a proportioning system works and some of the benefits. That's really what I wanted you to get out of this video, is the benefits of using a proportioning system with a soft wash machine. Now that Comet P40 with the motor on it will probably run you around $1,800. I used to have an AR-45 on there in the past. It died on me. I don't even know what happened to it, but I ended up just getting the P40. I thought it was just looked like a nicer system. It's done pretty good for me so far. You get a lot of water out of it. That's the greatest thing. It's 11 gallons a minute. So if you're thinking about getting a soft wash system, you gotta have a good buffer tank. Now I'm not saying you have to have a 550-gallon buffer tank, but I would say minimum 250, like one of those tanks with the cages around it. What is that, like a 275? It's probably like a 275 tank. You have to have that minimum, because you're putting out 11 gallons a minute with this soft wash machine. Most houses are gonna, if you have good water pressure, you'll maybe get 5 gallons a minute, but most of them are gonna be putting out like 3 or 4. So you're not gonna be able to keep up with the water. You're gonna run out of water, and then the soft wash machine doesn't do you any good. You got to have a lot of water in the tank, because I travel with full water. When I get to the site, I have full water already. That's what makes jobs quick. We're not sitting there waiting for water ever. And sometimes if the water is low pressure, you see right here, I have dual hoses. I will hook up a hose on the right side of the house, and I'll hook up a hose on the left side of the house. And now I'm getting dual filling action. So we're always trying to keep this water full. When I see the water getting like halfway, I start figuring out like what my next move is. Like if I have to tell somebody to hurry up on one of the machines or slow down, because this 150 to 200 gallons, it will go quick when you have 3 motors running. We're putting out 25 gallons a minute. With all machines running, we're putting out 25 gallons a minute. So 4 or 5 minutes, you're at like 100 gallons of water already. So when you're halfway down there, you have to start thinking like, all right, what are we gonna do? Like, how much driveway do we have left? How much house do we have left? So there is some instances where we have to look at how much water we have and how big the job is. We're hooking up dual hoses, but for the most part, if we get to the house with dual hoses, we can run all 3 engines and get a big job done within like an hour. So today I had one guy on the surface cleaner on the driveway, I had one guy on the surface cleaner on the patio doing the pool deck, and then I was doing the vinyl fence. So all 3 of us did it at the same time. Now if you're just a new guy starting up and you just have one pressure washer, like a 4 gallon a minute pressure washer, imagine how long it would take you to do a 1,000 square foot driveway, a 700 square foot pool deck, and 300 feet of vinyl fence. And the vinyl fence was moldy, like it had some lichen growth on there and some orange mold. So your downstreaming isn't even gonna touch that. You're gonna need to get like straight SH and put it in like 50-50 it in a pump sprayer and hit the spots that are real heavy. So imagine how long that would take you if you're a new guy starting out. If you want to get to this level where you're knocking out houses like that real quick, we were in and out of that job in probably an hour and 15 minutes. Driveway, pool deck, 300 feet of vinyl fence. And the vinyl fence needed rust removal. So I did oxalic acid with F9 bark on the lower portion of the whole fence on the bottom. That was an upcharge for that because of irrigation rust stains. So all that, an hour and 15 minutes. If you're a newer guy just doing that with one pressure washer, that's an easy 6-hour job. And that's like your whole day. Like you're like, oh, I got a big job today. I got a driveway, a pool deck, and a big fence. That is like a big job when you're first starting out. For us, that was a job that we had between 10 and 11:15, because we had 6 jobs today to do, and that was just one job in the portion of that time frame. So those are the times that this is the kind of things you have to think about if you want to grow and get bigger with your business. You have to upgrade your equipment to make sure you can handle that type of volume. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions about the P40 or the proportioner system, you can email me, go to my website, you can email me, you can send me a text, and I'll always answer. Thanks.